And we're on number 2?
Correct.
Okay. Should be good to go.
And here's my dad. Support Army Strong, book. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I just want to let you guys know I had a traumatic brain injury, so I can't remember what we did in detail. But I'm here to talk to you guys about True Aim Shooting Club, your new favorite place to shoot. I'm Kenneth Doyle, and I have over 5 years in a management position for a highly profitable company. I have over 5 years in the military, which included basic weapons training, advanced weapons training, cleaning, maintenance, repair work. I also did training with 3rd Group Special Forces. We were deployed with them, so they had us train up with them. I did tactical live fire breaching and hostage rescue. And that's not like hostage negotiation. We go in there and we shoot guys. So I have quite a bit of weapons training. And I'm also taking NRA certified courses to become a range safety officer and a instructor on handguns, rifles, and shotguns, which are the 3 classes of firearms that you can fire on our range. Before I get too in depth, I would like to ask you guys a question. You guys all like to go to the movies? Do you? Yeah, okay. I thought so. Now, imagine that the town you live in doesn't have a movie theater. The closest one to you is 3 towns away. It's up a mountain. And because it's up a mountain, it's only 30 miles away. But because it's up a mountain, you have to drive all the way up there. It takes you over an hour to get there. That's how the residents of my town of Marion, North Carolina, have to experience shooting on a shooting range. So I want to solve their issue because they are very, very much into their guns. And as am I, so it's a dual purpose. It helps us both out. I'm going to solve this issue by building a shooting range and weapons retail shop combination. And our 3 core concepts are going to be convenience, quality, and opportunity. A little bit about the convenience section of it. What could be more convenient than a shooting range that's 3 towns over and up a giant mountain? Yes, anything. How about a shooting range that is right in the heart of Marion, North Carolina, right in the downtown area, which isn't like a normal downtown, like with skyscrapers and everything. It's just like Main Street. Everybody travels through there. It's the business section. There are a couple of shops that sell guns and ammo, but they don't have any ranges. And what we're going to offer is a place where people can come in, they can buy weapons and ammunition and go back and shoot. They run out of ammunition, they can come back and buy some more. We're also going to offer club memberships. And a lot of places offer club memberships or just memberships to join their range, but they don't really offer a whole lot for their members. What we're going to do is we're going to have a members area set up. It's kind of going to be like a lodge type thing. It's going to have a feel to it, a lodge type feel, with nice relaxing chairs, maybe some TV, and free coffee, along with guns and church. They really like their coffee. Operations. We're going to be open Tuesday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m., which is an hour earlier, and closing an hour later on 9 p.m. Just because people don't work on Saturdays, so they'll have more time to come shoot. Sundays and Mondays we're going to be closed to give our employees, and definitely myself, some time off, but mainly Sunday because it is a big church-heavy town. Everybody's at church on Sunday, so we pretty much be losing money if we're open on Sunday. A day in the life of our setup there, our store, would would be, I would come in an hour earlier, so 10 o'clock on the weekdays, 9 o'clock on the weekend, Saturday, just to do the finances. I don't want to do the finances after work, after we close, because I want to be fresh when I do the finances. And because of my brain issues, I'm going to be very cloudy at the end of the day. So I want to start fresh and get it all done. I want to do it daily so it doesn't pile up to weekly and then, or heaven forbid, monthly. That would be way too much for me to keep track of. Safety is our number one priority. It's a big challenge, especially with all the media attention on weapons. Safety is our number one priority. And we have a set of rules and regulations that customers have to follow, such as no open weapons in the main retail shop. They have to either be concealed or be carrying them, or packaged away in carrying case. Advertising. This sounds a little Stone Agey, but word of mouth, billboards, and newspaper ads are like the biggest form of advertising you can do in Marion. And not like fancy LED billboards. They're like paper billboards. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm not used to paper billboards. I didn't even know they still made them. But when I got to Marion, that's all they had, billboards. And people still read newspapers. I don't know how that is when they have cell phones and laptops that you can just pull it up. But they're really big in Marion. So we're going to take out ads on billboards next to the busy intersections and in the newspapers. Word of mouth is key for that town. It's not so much of a small town, it's just very tightly knit. Everybody knows everybody. And if somebody doesn't like somebody, everybody knows that. So our second priority after safety is customer satisfaction. A lot of people put satisfaction first, but safety is a little more important in my mind than satisfaction. You can't have customers that are unsafe and satisfied at the same time. We're also going to give out guest passes before we even open. We're going to hand out guest passes to our employees so that they can hand them out to people out in the town. And the guest passes will be good for a free hour of shooting. That way it just gets people in the door. Then they can buy ammo. If they don't have guns, we're going to have gun rentals available so that they can come shoot the guns. Also, we're going to do a press release and news interviews with the local news stations. The news apparently really likes stories about disabled veterans and heartwarming stories about how they're bettering themselves in the community. And it's great advertisement for us. So we're going to use that. Quality, my quality products and services. This is not so much my range, but it is a picture of the types of ranges that the company that I'm going through builds. I don't really need all these lanes, I need 5. The range kind of, to me, has a futuristic look to it. I know a lot of ranges that I've been to kind of look like they were thrown together with plywood in somebody's basement or garage. So that's not what we're trying to look for. We're looking for high quality stuff that people can actually enjoy being at and feel like they're safe and protected. Our retail shop, I actually just thought of this the other day, but we're trying to have it feel almost like a jewelry store. Like how jewelry stores feel different from regular retail shops that you go into. The lighting is a little dim, there's carpeted floors, there's comfortable chairs, there's display cases with all your jewelry in it. We're going to try to do that. Make it look more like a jewelry shop rather than just a cluttered weapons and ammo shop, just so it feels better to the customers. We're going to be offering all types of ammunition. We're going to be offering handguns, shotguns, and rifles, all 3 of which you can use on our range, which you cannot use on our competitors' range. You can only use handguns on their ranges, which surprised me. But you can use all three on our range. We're going to have rentals. You can rent handguns, shotguns, and rifles. We're going to sell range time and hourly rates, all-day passes, and family plans. We're going to sell memberships, and the memberships let you into our members area, and they also offer discounts on ammunition. You have 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and a year, and each higher level of membership that you get offers you a higher discount on your products. We're going to offer courses like concealed carry courses, gun safety courses, and weapons handling courses. The concealed carry course I went to had to be done in a church, and we had to kind of sneak onto some private property for the shooting portion of it, but I didn't say that. We're also going to be doing league memberships for our customers. We're going to have separate leagues for men, for women, and for veterans. The typical market for the target market for a shooting range is men 50 or older, because they have more free time. They're about to retire, if not retired already. They don't have young children running around, so they have more free time to go out and shoot. But we're also going to try to expand to women shooters, because that market's not been tapped to its fullest. Women like to shoot. They like to feel like they know how to shoot in case they ever need to. And we're going to offer concealed carry garments for women that I've already been talking with producers of to get their line in my store. We're going to have feminine colored weapons, the pink ones that you see a lot. And like I said, the town loves church and guns. I actually got my concealed carry permit through my church. They were the ones who turned me on to it. And then I go back and find out that 90% of that church carries a weapon with them at all times. So we're going to try to get our church members into the shooting club more. The financials. We're going to price our products, at a cost plus markup, which is the cost that we buy the ammunition and other supplies for, plus a slight markup, and that will determine the amount of percentage that the memberships offer on the ammunition. The services that we offer, like the range time and the courses, those are based off of our competitors' prices. And like I said, the memberships do have their discounts and perks. You get into the members area, which is awesome in my mind. Starting up, it does cost quite a bit of money to be federally compliant, especially when you have a lead hazard from the lead coming from the bullet. So the actual cost of the entire startup is $320,665. Just the range portion itself costs $244,000. That's because we actually care about our customers. We want them to have a quality place to go, and one that's 100% safe and up to federal codes. The ways that we're trying to get this money is through nonprofit organizations that I've already been in contact with and given my business plan to. We're looking into business grants that are offered through the NRA and NSSF. We're also looking for investors, and as a last resort, we're going to look for business loans. I say that's a last resort because I don't want to have to put my house up and have my family homeless if the worst happens. The return to my investors will be fairly negotiated on a case-by-case basis, and there is something for everybody. My customers have a place to come and shoot and buy firearms. I have the opportunity to run my own business, which is something I've wanted all my life. My investors will automatically receive a free VIP membership to our club, and that's lifetime. And the investors get the added bonus of making a disabled veteran's dream come true. Thank you.
So, for sourcing, who's going to be your main suppliers and how are you going to get product?
The main weapon manufacturers, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Colt, there are quite a few others. I have on my business plan. I've been in contact with Ruger already, and we can get a deal with them for the weapons rentals as well. But all this has to be done after I get my federal firearms license and my business licenses, so I can purchase all the stuff on at wholesale prices.
Given it's, the range to be a big drive of your business, do you think rentals are going to be a bigger part of your market since there's other gun and ammo shops? Or?
Rentals, I don't think would be too big of a profit driver for us because the town, just the county that we live in, has 2,500 concealed carry permit holders. So everybody's got a gun pretty much.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just wondering, so the 244 that you said it would take to build the range itself, and you mentioned the 1.5 stalls, is that right? So if you're thinking 2,500 concealed permits, how many of those folks would you reasonably expect that you would want to have as members? 5 or 10%, something like that?
Well, I would want 100%. I think we could get 100%, seeing as how the closest competitor is all the way up the mountain. And
that's what I'm just thinking. If you've got, say you get half of them, right? You got 1,000 members,
right?
You get 5 stalls. How does that work in terms of the flow? Or is that too many members to be serviced by just 5 stalls, or?
Not at all. The memberships are good for the 1 month, just the 3 month, 6 month, and a year. And we do have a time limit on using the stalls. You can do 1 hour at a time. After you go over that hour, you can come back if you have an all-day pass or a membership pass. But you just have to go to the end of the line, just so it's fair to everybody.
Yep.
What would a membership cost?
The memberships cost, let's see, the 1 month is $60, and the 1 year is, I believe, $550. And I estimated those prices based on how much the 1 hour times are, which will be $15 per 1 hour block. And if they came in every day. So if they came in every day for 1 month, it would be about $330. So if I sell them for $60, I'm saving them that much money, which is a great benefit for them. They can come in anytime they want to, and as long as we're open. And
You, at a high level or at kind of maturity of the business, do you have in your head what you think the percentages would be out of 100% membership revenue versus retail sales revenue?
based on the amount of members we have buying the retail stock, or
I'm just wondering, would you rather I'd like to have it be 80% of our revenue comes from memberships and 20% comes from retail, or would you have it like 50-50, or it doesn't really matter to you as long as
I would prefer the bulk of our revenue come in from the memberships, because I have worked them out based on every day, and then they get so much of a discount off of that membership. But nobody's going to come in every single day, so it's not like we're losing money. At the most, I would estimate people would come in 3 times a week, and that membership, it costs more than the cost of coming in 3 times a week and just buying it, but it does look better on paper to the customer to see, oh, you saved $260.
Well, hopefully if they're coming in every day to shoot or whatever, they're also buying ammo.
Yeah, definitely. That's another key with the other ammo shops around us. Um, the benefit of having a ammo shop and a range at the same place, they come in, they buy the ammo and the weapons, and then they just go back and shoot them, as opposed to going out in the town and driving all the way over to our place and shooting.
When you're doing the cost plus markup approach with the numbers,
Mhm.
is that something that's acceptable to the gun manufacturer? Because you're going to see manufacturer suggested pricing is deviating from that. Is that going to, do you think that would cause sourcing issues?
I don't exactly know what their pricing standards are yet, because I don't have the business license and I'm not able to even really talk to them about how much wholesale prices would be. But absolutely, we would definitely make those necessary changes if they're required.
Now, with being closed on Sunday and, being the big church emphasis, are you going to take a similar branding approach like with Hobby Lobby and really market that as a Christian business and take advantage of that as a brand point of view?
We weren't originally going to, but I think just about everybody in the town is very religious and they go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it would kind of help us, but I think it would also kind of put a negative spin on churches in our town if they're associated with a gun shop. So I don't want to cause any media backlashes to either our shop or the churches.
Now, you said sort of an unwillingness about the business loans, but are you aware of like the economic development kind of loans that different states have, those kinds of programs?
I've recently found out about North Carolina is the state I'm in. They have some business loans, business startup loans, programs that if necessary, and if I had to go get a loan, I would choose those banks first that offer those programs.
Yeah, because usually through the states you can get those kinds of loans without having to do the personal guarantees with startup activities.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Connecticut one, is the DCD Small Business Express Loan Program.
Okay.
I don't know if it is in North Carolina, but I imagine they have similar kinds of programs because they're not looking at putting entrepreneurs out of business. They sort of want to get people to develop a startup company.
And definitely because the town is big into their guns.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a more personal driver for the bank loans, for the actual loaners at the church to offer the loan.
No automatic weapons?
Um,
When you say rifle, does that include?
That's semi-automatic.
Okay.
Automatic ones, they damage the steel that encases the range. If there are multiple shots in one place, it'll damage and possibly even break the steel that encases it.
Well, most of the media things that you mentioned have been automatic weapons.
Right.
So you had mentioned before that a lot of ranges aren't doing the shotguns and the rifles. Do you know why that is?
I would assume, this is just an assumption, but because it is poorly designed and because it does look like it was put together in somebody's garage, that it can't support the shotgun or the rifle firing.
Okay. Have you done any research on that?
I have been talking to somebody who actually wants to come over and work with us, who has worked at the nearest competitor's store, and he's been kind of giving me the inside information on there.
Market intelligence is always good.
Do you have any idea how long, the number you put up there was
320,000.
320, how long it would take you
to be able to pay off that investment? That I do not know because I don't know the exact number of sales that to estimate because there is no shooting range in our town. And the towns around us, they would obviously be coming in as well because after that one that's 30 miles away up the mountain, the closest one is 60 miles away. So pretty much nobody in that area has a place to shoot. So I can estimate for my town specifically, but I can't estimate any proper numbers because there's so many more variables to the problem. But yeah, I can't really estimate that at this time. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right, so when you're ready to put the presentation. You said we're clicking in ourselves.
Yes, so you'll just use the space bar once I set this up.
All right. Hello, my name is Rosita Campbell. I'm a veteran of the Air Force, and I'm passionate about the fitness industry, but I'm even more passionate about helping those in need, specifically veterans. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the godfather of bodybuilding, says training gives us an outlet for suppressed energies created by stress, and thus tones the spirit, just as exercise conditions the body. So, a little background on myself. When I got out of the Air Force, I was very young. I joined at 17. And I didn't realize that I was dealing with a lot of suppressed difficulties that happened to me. To be completely transparent, just to let you know why I got into this industry, 2 weeks before I joined the Air Force, I was violently raped in my hometown. I was 17 years old, just graduated from high school. And when I went to the police department and we filed a police report, the police officer did not believe me, and he also harassed me. He told me either you press charges and you won't go into the military and never look back. So I joined the Air Force and never looked back. But I never dealt with that, which is key as to why I ended up, when I got out of the military, severely depressed, PTSD, and severe clinical depression. At that time, I didn't know that was what I was dealing with. Shortly after, a few years later, I found myself in an abusive relationship, and I eventually gained a lot of weight. I gained over 100 pounds, and one night, in a drunken stupor, I swallowed 153 pills, and it's a miracle that I'm here today. When I got out of the hospital, I realized that I had to do something about my self-esteem. I had to do something about the emotional issues that I was trying to suppress, but they were coming up in other ways. So later on, I got into CrossFit and into Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting specifically. My brother introduced me to CrossFit, and about 7 months ago, my brother, who's an Army Ranger, got diagnosed with breast cancer. He's a 32-year-old Army Ranger, airborne, sniper. He's the alpha male. So to have breast cancer as a male, a physically fit male at that, was traumatic for him. Not to mention, a month before, my father got diagnosed with prostate cancer. My brother kept it a secret because the family was more concerned about, my father. He wanted everyone to focus on my father. And the doctors removed the mass in his breast. And 2 weeks later, he competed in the CrossFit competition and he won. So this is just showing you that the level of physical fitness that my industry, CrossFit bootcamp exercises in particular, can really change and transform someone's life. This is my before picture, and this is my after, but I don't want to call it after. I'm still in the middle, so I'm waiting to get to that after picture. All right, so my core concept, I want to supply veterans, specifically disabled veterans, with jobs in the physical fitness industry, whether it be CrossFit, Zumba, boot camp, or kids CrossFit. And I would also like to supply veterans, specifically disabled veterans, whether it be physically, mentally, with free memberships as well. So essentially, I want to change someone's life through physical fitness. And also, I guess the hedonistic calculus of it all is it's changing my life as well and helping someone else. The gym industry remains resilient as demand from health-conscious consumers grows. We're in the time where everyone is concerned about how they look. And because of that, people are hitting the gyms and they're willing to pay pretty good prices, especially for CrossFit, which is a grassroots exercise. I'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so my product or service, like I said, specifically, I would like to have CrossFit as the primary source of revenue, because that is, the memberships for CrossFit can range anywhere from $100 for unlimited a month, and actually CrossFit by me is charging people $225 a month, and they have well over 300 members. I would also like to supply protein shakes, so a little small juice bar, Zumba, fitness boot camp, kids CrossFit, as well as online nutritional coaching. So this is what a typical, this is more expanded, but this is what a typical CrossFit center looks like. Except this has a little more, this is more towards like Olympic powerlifting focus. But once you get the equipment is pretty sturdy and it lasts for some time. And it's really cheap equipment as far as the CrossFit standard. Zumba, there's really no equipment to it. Fitness Bootcamp uses the same equipment as CrossFit does. And kids CrossFit is more focused on aerobics. So they don't lift weights or anything like that. Okay, my market. So I'm currently located in Kearney, New Jersey. This is where I'm located at. Newark is more inner city, but as you can see, these red markers are where there's CrossFit at. So the closest CrossFit to Kearney without New Jersey traffic would be 30 minutes drive. Because of New Jersey traffic, it's about an hour and a half drive to get to that CrossFit. There are gyms in the area. There's one local gym, which is Signature Fitness, but they don't provide CrossFit at all. And their membership is pretty high, and a lot of people are not satisfied with that. So my customers, the actual paying customers, so the age range, I don't know how to get this out of there. The age range for my customers is usually between 25 to 34 years old, and it's more health conscious individuals. Uh, Along with CrossFit, some boot camp they teach the paleo diet, which is pretty much the diet of the hunters and gatherers. So it's really any type of meat that you can hunt, any fish that you can personally find, and as well as like nuts, legumes, and vegetables. It's actually a pretty big diet. It's really effective when it comes to weight loss and building muscle mass. All right, so this is the three closest CrossFits to me. The attrition rate is the average industry attrition rate for each one. The average pay for a trainer is $30,000, depending on how many clients they get. The only thing you need for CrossFit is honestly you just need a CrossFit One level certificate, which is about $1,000, and anyone can get it. Like I said, CrossFit Jersey City, that's the closest one to me, $215 a month, and that's if you have a 12-month membership, 12-month contract. If there's no contract, it's $235 a month, and they have well over 300 patrons. CrossFit Nutley, during rush hour traffic would probably take about hour 45 minutes to get to. They're $185 a month with no contract, and they just opened. They opened about 4 months ago, and they already have about 120 patrons as well. Animal CrossFit is a little further out than CrossFit Nutley, and as you can see, $170 a month. They only provide one class a day, which I believe is at night. The other CrossFits, CrossFit Jersey City and CrossFit Nutley, provide classes during the week, but Saturday and Sunday there are no classes. It's just an open gym and it's for 1 hour. So what I would like to do different, I would like to lower the contract, lower the amount for no contract, $149 a month. That's the highest rate. I actually have a breakdown on the pricing. And to start out, 4 classes a day, but 7 days a week. So I want it to be open for the public 7 days a week. My marketing strategy is to hit social media hard. I have a lot of friends who are competitive athletes, and they've already been sharing and sending emails to individuals, seeing if they would like to participate, especially in the Kearney area. Kearney is about 20 minutes away from Manhattan. It's close to the path, which is the main source, the train that goes into Manhattan. It goes, the next stop over is the World Trade Center. So there's a high population, and in Kearney, Harrison, and Newark, there are very few gyms, period. And this is a CrossFit, no CrossFit at all, but very few gyms. And then when you become a CrossFit affiliate, they automatically put you in the CrossFit Journal. You're featured on the CrossFit Games, which is a worldwide game now. It's a yearly competition for the most elite athletes of CrossFit. And then they also put you on their website and they advertise for you. That comes with the cost of being an affiliate. It's not a franchise, but you do have to pay affiliation fees every year, which is $3,000. So my marketing process, if you want to follow along, this is in the business plan. So phase 1 has actually started. That will be from October to December. And this is just more, pretty much what I'm doing here, learning more about the business, learning about how to break into the business, and discussing. I have a few bodybuilder coaches which are looking to go over to CrossFit, and they've already committed to me as long as I can find a location. So October to December, I'm really looking for a location. Kearney used to be an industrial city, so there are a lot of empty warehouses, but they're large spaces, and price per square foot on some of them range anywhere from $15 a square foot and to $35 to $56 a square foot, which is ridiculous to pay for. So actually thinking about going into a smaller setting, a storefront that's empty. I actually have a friend who owns a business next door, and it's only about $1,000 a month in rent, which is less than what I pay at my house. So, project execution, that is phase 2. So that will be from January to March. What is the best time to sell memberships for the gym? After the New Year's resolution, the best time. So what we're trying to do is open before then and push out the 12-month memberships, because most people that get gym memberships in January, by March won't be going anymore. And then project expansion. So that date is incorrect. It's going to be February 2015 to August. So that's a time when I'll bring in more fitness programs. Specifically, the CrossFit Kids probably won't start until then. And really hit that market as well. A lot of after school activities are just educational based, and where I live, there's a lot of obese children, a lot of obese and overweight children. So looking to push that, looking to get into children's nutrition and help kids, teach kids what healthy choices are as well, as far as picking what foods to eat. All right, this is the break-even analysis. So the startup cost essentially is about $41,000, and that's if I include my salary in it. So the break-even analysis, if I wouldn't really see a profit if I factor that in, probably until the end of the year. So I'll be in the red until then, depending on how many memberships. It's really all based on how many memberships that we can push. So that's based on only 30 memberships of CrossFit, 30 memberships of CrossFit, 20 memberships of Zumba, and 15 of the Unlimited Bootcamp. There's a thing called punch cards. So you get a card that has 20 numbers on it. That means you can come to CrossFit 20 times at any time. And once the punch card is done, then you either buy a membership or you just buy a new one. There's also something called drop-in pass. That's all the CrossFits have. I would like to incorporate it in the other fitness programs offered as well. So you pay $5, $10 depending on the program, and you can come anytime. You don't have to be a member. And the nutrition program, $50 a month at 30 members. So that brings you up to a monthly total of $8,170. Operations, that's actually my big brother. Essentially, what we need to operate the facility is memberships, drop-ins, punch cards. So that's what most gyms are really based off of. You really don't make money off of the juice bar or anything like that. It's mostly off memberships. Backstage, my brother is currently stationed on Fort Bragg, but he's looking to separate soon. So he'll be up. He holds every level of certification of CrossFit, as well as he just won got second place for the Best Warrior competition. He went to regionals for CrossFit, and they've just invited him to join CrossFit Grid, which is the best of all CrossFit athletes. He actually runs a CrossFit down in North Carolina now, and they've moved in the past year 3 times because they keep having to expand. The financials, the boring stuff. Like I said, so the startup costs are $40,925. Advertising, you pay for that through the CrossFit website. Prepaid insurance comes through the CrossFit website. That's actually comes with your affiliation fees. Supplies. So most of the startup supplies is just an ID scanner, card scanner for the memberships. And I factored in a pre-opening salary, but right now I'm bootstrapping it. So as of right now, I don't have a salary. I'm going off of my own money. And then, like I said, so the monthly cost, we're looking at a nutrition consultant. I wouldn't be doing it. I actually consulted out to a friend who he does nutrition consultations now for bodybuilders. Maintenance is fairly low. payroll after I factored it in starting in January 2000 a month. And rent on a high end would be about 2,500 in the Kearney location. Also looking at another location, but it's a little more urban than Kearney. Supplies are fairly low, and that's pretty much utilities. So the bare basics. Once you get the equipment, that equipment lasts for a very long time. It's actually under warranty for 5 years, and that's an equipment for the $16,000 is actually kind of for a larger scale CrossFit. That's another breakdown. So it pretty much shows you pre-opening salaries, insurance premiums, rent deposit, and utility deposit. And it's an estimate, and I'm overestimating on some. And management. I have a very close friend that goes to my father's a pastor. She goes to my father's church, and she does Zumba now in the basement of my father's church. She's certified to do Zumba, step aerobics, and a different type of aerobics. And she does it for free. So she's willing to give me at least 6 months of her time for free. Mostly after school. She's a teacher, so it'll be after school hours. That's my brother. His focus would be CrossFit and boot camp. He's serving pretty much as an advisor now. And he's gotten a lot of connections for me, especially in the New York area. And I have a financial consultant who's another very close friend. She has her MBA, and she also has a degree in finance. And she's had her own financial consulting business for a while, mostly nonprofit agencies that she consults for. But as far as the gym, it is a low barrier to entry. So there is a lot of competition out there. What makes me different is that I am looking towards right now it's the LLC, but I'm looking to do some benefit work by providing veterans with a free membership and providing their families with a discounted membership. But before I can do that, I need members who are paying the full price. Like I said, I only want to employ veterans. I'm looking to get a few guys on that are veterans, and I want to pay for their CrossFit certification, which is $1,000, and have them work as part-time CrossFit coaches and bootcamp coaches. So the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, so some statistics for you, suggests that the number of jobs within the industry will increase more than 23% over the next 10 years. That's great because the veterans, the community of veterans, have the highest unemployment rates. So right there, this is a business, those who want to enter into it be viable for it. The number of personal physical fitness trainers will increase 31.7% by the year 2020. According to the International Health Racket and Sports Club Association, the total reported revenue in the fitness industry reached $21.8 billion in 2012. Also, it yielded a revenue of $26.5 billion and a profit of $2.3 billion, wages of $8.3 billion, and an annual growth rate of 2.8%, and it's still increasing. And most people look at it as, oh, it's just another gym, but there's an epidemic of obesity. I was one of those people. I was obese for quite some time in our country. Specifically, I found that the President's Council on Fitness and Sports Nutrition put out information on persons with a disability. 25.6 reported being physically inactive during a usual week versus 12.8 who have no disability. So this is important. Once again, 28% of Americans 6 or older are inactive. So the president is pushing physical fitness. Most of the celebrities are pushing physical fitness, healthy eating, gluten-free diets, paleo diets, and I just want to, bring a different approach to it, to bring awareness of physical fitness, bring the camaraderie that CrossFit supplies, most CrossFit boxes are small, but they have a certain family atmosphere. They go to dinners together, they do outings together, and this is something that I'm very interested in. And if I have to pay for it myself and bootstrap it myself, I'm going to do it within the next year. So thank you very much for your time.
So do you guys have any questions?
So for the 40,925, what's your source of funds?
Right now, my source of funds is my own personal money.
Okay.
Yes.
For the break-even analysis you got,
Mhm.
how did you get to about a year?
So what I did was I took the amount, the $8,170, because it's kind of hard to decipher what membership someone was going to pick. So I used that amount based off of the projected revenue, and I divided it by 30. I divided by 20. I'm sorry. For the month.
So you looked at the break-even from a revenue perspective as opposed to a net cash flow?
Right.
Okay. Because I mean, you probably want to be looking more at what your break-even is in terms of your initial investment. So your sort of your net cash flow divided by your initial investment. This is looking, that's a little, I mean, by the time you essentially recapture your funds under this plan, if the cash flows are remaining like that, it's a little over 2 years to get back your money. Is there any seasonality with the gym business or the CrossFit business?
Yes, definitely. So with CrossFit, not necessarily, but with the fitness industry, the gym business as a whole, like I said, it's we see a high influx during the beginning of the year, and that fades out. Summertime picks up again. Wintertime it fades out.
So sort of with the cash flows you have, do you ever have concerns that with the gym industry you're having some margins?
Mm.
Are you ever concerned that you're going to be having difficulties in certain months? What are you looking for to help finance you through those months?
So I have my own personal finances. I still work a full-time job, and I still receive 100% benefits from the military. So like I said, if I have to fall back on my own personal income and savings account, I'm willing to.
What's the depreciation schedule for the CrossFit equipment? Like
Equipment?
Yeah, how many useful years of life you get with?
So that, once again, really depends on personal use. Some people drop the equipment, depending on the flooring that you have as well. That's why the flooring, the rating that I have at that amount. So there's a warranty for it for 5 years.
Okay.
So typically 5 years, and then you're looking at probably, sometimes someone will break a bumper weight, and you'll have to get a bumper weight here or there, but that's not really expensive at all.
I think it was great. I love the logo. I think I like the business plan. It's really good. It seems like maybe the property, the location would be kind of maybe your main concern, or maybe like worry of where can you get into and how much is that going to cost. Are there any programs, either like through the city of Newark or through the state that, for some of I assume that some of these properties that are, not used anymore or in disrepair or any of that kind of stuff, could you get help with some of that?
Yes, I've actually looked into that because those areas are lower income areas.
Yeah.
Kearney's a little bit high, but it's still in that zone. Hudson and Essex County, there's a lot of programs out there. I didn't factor it in because I'm not sure if I get accepted or not, but there are a few programs for women business owners, minority business owners, and veteran business owners, specifically in that area that I showed you, that's Essex and Hudson County. So there also are programs because there's a lot of empty warehouses that have been empty for many, many years. But the space is an issue because a lot of those warehouses are huge. And so I'm looking at a smaller warehouse or even an old auto garage to gut it out and then go from there.
You mentioned that CrossFit is they're not a franchise, they're an affiliation, and to belong if it's $3,000 a year, correct?
Correct.
And then, do they give you any help with like equipment purchases, or can they plug you into their network? Is there any of that you get? What do you get for that 3,000?
Right. So I spoke with, Rogue is one of the main suppliers of CrossFit equipment. I spoke with them. They're willing to give, that 16,000 is the basic price for a 10-member box, which at any time can hold 30 to 40 people per class. So that equipment is the regular price. They give a military discount, veterans discount, and they also give a discount once you become an affiliate. So that's just the price without the affiliation. So there's also some other suppliers, but they don't hold the warranty that Rogue holds. So I would rather pay a little bit more for higher quality and to have that warranty.
So I'll bring in the next person. Are we all set?
Yep, all set. Thank you so much.
Nice job.
Does anyone else want to just take a restroom break?
I'm gonna get some more coffee.
Wow, I'm already clearing the room.
Yes.
Started, guys.
My vote tends to be bomb first, so maybe it's a time. Get them first, get them back, and then rock it.
Yeah, I'm extremely nervous.
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody this
And I get part of not resting up today, this is my business model. Absolutely. I'm gonna load. You want me to load my PowerPoint now?
Oh, is it not loaded?
Not yet.
Okay,
I have it
so
on my
yes,
jump
please.
drive.
Please load it.
The camera's not nerve-wracking either. I love everybody's idea.
Yeah, this year I gotta say I'm very impressed. Not only with the ideas, because ideas are a dime a dozen, but honestly just the thoughtfulness that has gone into the planning process. I find it a bit refreshing. I've been working with entrepreneurs for a long time, and I find it refreshing.
Wow, that's interesting to hear that. I think that's,
Okay, so we just
I haven't done a PowerPoint in a long time.
Why does it say copy and replace? Did you load it on here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Did you send it to Mike or something?
No. That's weird.
Okay. Let me just see.
Just replace it.
Oh. Did you do some updates? You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that. Alright, let's replace it then. Copy and replace. Alright, let's hope you made the right choice.
No.
Okay, so where is it at
Oh.
now?
Wait.
What part of it was? What is it?
You want to look here and make sure this is the right?
That's not
You're
mine.
getting a lot.
This is not yours? You're not number 4?
No,
Oh,
that's not
that's
mine.
weird.
Could
So
we
then-
just
yeah,
play
no,
put a phone
yeah.
Mom said that you could call it
It's like, wow, are we pitching other people's ideas?
No, I don't know why that says number 4 then. I thought
That's
they
weird.
put yours. Put it one back and read it go. Yeah, let's just. All right, everyone. Everyone's ready? We're gonna get going again? Okay, great.
I was gonna say, will I be able to see my slides?
Yes. Sorry.
It's fine.
You ready?
Yeah. Yes, SA, Donalita, the cleaning. So basically, I am Navajo. I introduce myself in Navajo. I learned from my grandmother that you introduce yourself to the people around you because you're introducing your grandparents. So we have a clan system actually that I received from my father and one from my mother. And I also received another clan from my maternal and paternal grandparents. So that's how I am Navajo. Just a little bit of history about me. And also, let me see, spacebar. I haven't done a presentation on PowerPoint in a while. I am, like I said, from the Navajo tribe. I'm from Arizona. I'm the first in my family to receive a bachelor's degree and the first in my family to join the military. I am currently a parent to a foster child. She's 8 years old. I've been a parent to her for 2 months. And I'm currently working towards a small business management degree. She is actually my focus on a couple months ago. I used to work at Salt River Reservation as a family advocate. And my fiance is a police officer for the Salt River Reservation. It was actually a shooting in the neighborhood, and I was working at the Head Start, and he's a school resource officer at the elementary school. So from that moment on, it really changed my life because he was the first one on the scene to be with the suspect. So I'm like, I always wanted to be like I had my life flash before my eyes. I always wanted to be a foster parent, and I'm like, I don't want to look back in 10 years and be like, I should have done this, I should have done that. So she was actually my inspiration. We got certified, licensed, and before we brought any child in, I thought, why am I working? If we're going to bring in a foster child into our home, I should dedicate all my time and all my life to her because I want to create a stable environment. So I quit my job and decided to stay home with her. And my fiance is still working. And the idea came from our family specialist. One of the recurring themes was, what are you going to do with childcare if you have to work? Or what are you going to do if you're the only licensed individuals that can care for her? Because you don't have any friends or family that live nearby. So I decided to start More Than Nannies. I'm going to start it actually in 2015, is to provide convenient childcare within the customer's home. Because my daughter actually is afraid to go into anybody else's care. She's grown attached to us in the little 2 months that we had her. And And I thought, what about, because we're planning a trip to go to San Diego. And I'm like, we want to have some time alone. How about we have a daycare where a nanny can go into the hotel and care for the child? And also, I noticed that there's no childcare during the weekends or holidays. And that's the only time my fiance actually has time off to spend with him. So I thought it was important to implement childcare on the weekends or on call, and also just for date night. Some of the things I want to implement is ongoing monitoring background checks, and all educator providers, I want them to be CPR or first aid certified. Also, education is important to me because my foster daughter, she's actually behind. She's 8 years old, but she couldn't count from 1 to 100 or 100 to 1 backwards. We would spend literally 2 to 4 hours a night doing homework with her. And she's actually in an after-school program where Department of Economic Security pays $300 a week. But the ratio in the aftercare service is actually 1 to 2 to 30. So they don't have the time to devote to make sure that she's learning the concepts that she needs to learn. Also, so education is important for me. And we never really received a daily report from the aftercare program. I mean, I don't know what she did. You ask her child, what did you do today? And then she's like, I don't know. We did some math homework or we learned about shapes. You really don't know some of the concepts they learn. So I really want to create a low child to staff ratio by providing an educator with a child that's one-on-one. Actually researched the state of Arizona, because that's where I'm from, and some of the families that utilize these services. So you can't really tell, actually, it's black and white. But most families actually, this is the non-traditional hours. So the need is in the non-traditional hours, like I was saying, the weekends. Maybe they have graveyard shifts. So that's, I know this is the market for more than nannies. And just here, I broke down the 5 cities that have the most income because I know that's the cities that will be able to afford our childcare services. And again, family childcare in the homes, there's 200 of them. Other childcare programs is about 1,300 in the Phoenix area. And one thing I really started researching, because I'm big on providing a safe environment for my daughter, our competitors run the background check, which is very limited. The background check only involves, it doesn't involve a fingerprint background check. I'll offer the fingerprint background check, which entails, because most companies, they just pull their name with the background check. I mean, anybody can just change their name. But if we implement with the fingerprint background check, then we have all that data. And I noticed, I don't have the statistics up here, but most of our competitors like Tutor Time and the well-known childcare, their providers are only high school and GED level. And I'm about raising the standards, so I'm going to employ associate bachelor's and master's degree. Again, the child care in the public care system is 1 to 5, in the public sector 1 to 20. And also I want to provide personalized curriculum. Okay, so back to background checks. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. What's one other thing? I got my note card. The background checks, I noticed, is a huge thing to provide a safe environment for the child and education. I think everyone should raise the standards for child care. I'm hoping to get my market started with referrals, business cards, brochures, and a company website. And I really don't want to grow a big customer base because I want to be more about offering quality service over quantity. So I set up my my structure to implement a convenience fee. A convenience fee will be charged to the family for $15 for an associate degree level and $20 for a bachelor or master level employee. So if I bring in a nanny into the home, whatever, let's say they utilize 5 hours. So whatever, if it's $100, that money will actually be exchanged from the nanny to the customer. So all revenue for my company will be generated from the convenience fee. Have any questions? I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly. And I don't want to overwhelm employees because I'm more focused on, like I said, quality. So the number of services they will provide is 3 per week per family. And we broke down some of the Q1 with what employees, they really want to start slow to be successful. I don't want to go into it expecting high expectations and failing. So these are some of the figures I have. 2 employees will generate $5,000. And then every quarter I laid out. So year 1, I believe, year 2, year 3, and year 4. So the most number of employees I want to have is 30. Margins are pretty high. And my cost is pretty low, my overhead. And hopefully I want to keep this business going for at least 5 years to reach the full potential of my business. Startup cash is $20,000, and this is something I want to come up $10,000 on my own and the other $10,000 from other resources. Like I said, I want to have 2 educator, provider, and education and safety is important to me. I'll be operation and management. And there's this saying in the Navajo way that, so no one can do it for you. You experience, learn, and teach for yourself, and soon you can do it for others. The goal is to understand. It's up to you to live a good life. So when I think about my background, many times everybody wonder what my religion is. This is what actually keeps me going. That's what my father had instilled with me. And I'm passionate. I get emotional when I talk about my father because without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm emotional because we lost my grandmother 3 months ago. And it's very hard. And the way I devised this model, I'm hoping in 5 years to move back to the reservation. When I quit my job, I noticed that what matters to me is family and my community and giving back. On the reservation, we don't have plumbing or electric. So one of the biggest barriers we have there is actually laundromat. So I'm going to go back home in 5 years and open a laundromat in every town. Because there is definitely a need. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. to actually secure a washing machine. And all the towns on the Navajo Nation. So that's one of the biggest barriers we have that. So I want to eventually move back and learn the language and be among my people. And actually have on my camera.
Oh, well, you have 3 more minutes. If
Okay,
you would like to turn it over to
Okay.
questions, you can also do that.
I just want to share one more story. The reason why I went into foster care and decided to be because my mom actually the product of the foster care system. She has 14 siblings. And when the settlers came, they actually pulled her from her home in the 70s. She only understood Navajo. Her parents only spoke Navajo. And they placed her into a Caucasian home in Washington. They taught her how to speak English. And to me, that's important because me and my fiance only service Native American children for that reason. Because I don't think it's fair to take a child from their home and place them in an unfamiliar setting. My daughter's from Navajo Hopi, and we want to carry on her tradition to her. So that's the reason why I'm passionate about specifically just serving the Native American community from my mother's experience. Have any questions?
I saw that at one point you had a cost of $10,000. Was that on a monthly basis, or how did you?
Did you want to go back to that slide before?
No, you're good. It's actually on a yearly basis.
Okay.
I want to actually train all my employees. I've had one too many jobs where I had supervisors that did not understand how to train their employees effectively. And I want to be hands-on. And I'm not sure if I cut from my background, but I used to counsel Native Americans with adolescent substance abuse as a counselor at Pentagon. So my focus has always been on my people.
So if I understand your kind of revenue model would be each nanny would be paid directly by the client,
Yes.
and is there a set rate? Is that like $20 an hour or?
Right now, I guess it depends on the actual provider and their experience.
Okay.
I think it's important to empower my employees and tell them what they're worth.
Right.
I really don't want to be the one that sells that. I'll give them an idea of what they're worth.
And then you add your convenience fee on top of that, and so the they charge a certain hourly rate, and then is your convenience fee hourly as well, or is it?
No, it's a one-time fee every time you utilize my services.
Okay.
Just because it's difficult to find educated, reliable child care provider. I had to stop many times on the way home. I would actually follow up and see each daycare setting to see their credentials.
Right.
So it's a lot of time actually.
Right. It is.
Yeah, and I think being a parent, me and my fiance never had kids prior to this. So they just gave us a kid and we're like, oh, okay, so we're just supposed to just figure out what she needs as we go along. So this whole new being a parent is entirely new experience. And I always tell my fiance, our daughter has given me more than I have ever given her.
How are you going to find staff?
Oh, good question. My background, actually, I used to work at a Head Start, so I do have former friends and coworkers that used to work in the industry of childcare. That's what actually really started me thinking, because going from a counselor and also working in a Head Start, how did I get here? I guess now looking back on it, I was like, maybe I was meant to follow this path. Unexpectedly, so prophecy.
And the service would always be at the residence, at the
Yes.
home. Are there, do you know of any situations where that might not be possible? So your kind of alternative plan might be in a hotel or
Yeah.
another location.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I would prefer it in the home. Like I said, my daughter's more comfortable being at home in her own setting. And she has a lot of fear just because she has her own personal trauma. And she relies on us a lot. And I'm sure a lot of kids are the exact same situation because my nephew actually started Head Start. And my brother told me he cried for 2 weeks every day. That's just my focus. Actually, one of the the guys outside was like, how are you gonna hire people? And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to, when I conduct my interviews, I want my potential employees to interview me, not the other way around. Because I don't think I want to mold someone into my business or philosophy. I want the passion to show that they really care for what they do. And I think that's important for a successful company. Any other questions?
So are you gonna mostly target more affluent families?
For now, but eventually I know when I did my research, there's a great need for single, there's a poverty level for single mothers that really need childcare. And I'm hoping if this grows big enough to give back to the community and use some of the revenues to provide their daycare services to single mothers.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do I need to do anything?
No, actually, you don't.
Okay, so I just can take this out.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, you want to eject that though? Before you see, I'll do it.
I have a Mac, so this is hard.
I know, I feel the same way, actually. Yeah. I'm Mac user.
You knew it's growing in use. Oh my God.
Wanna, first of all, let's make sure you close out of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that will help, right? And then make this small here, right? Sorry about the waterworks. I think you
Don't apologize.
Actually, I don't know if you guys know much about the Navajo tribe, but we're actually electing our new president. And one of the troubles we do have is with most reservations is finding employment on the reservation. So a lot of us go off the reservation to get educated, but then we're not welcome back into our community because we actually have a visionary. He's actually 30 years old, wants to run for president, but because he doesn't speak fluently in Navajo, they disqualify him. It's definitely a hard transition to make from the city back to the reservation. And I'm actually getting married in 2 weeks back on the reservation.
Are you really? Congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know why this.
I know, I don't know why it won't come out.
Yeah, this, okay.
Right.
Fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the longest I've been away from my daughter. It's 10 days.
It's hard, it's very expensive.
No, I know there's some bribes going on over here.
Uh-huh.
Fairly influenced.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, you.
Are you guys doing?
Yeah, I just got the coffee, the door was open, so.
Is it presentation one or?
Your visual alternatives.
Okay. And can I make what?
You know, when you do the video, can you like make it, you know, shrink me about 20 pounds down?
You're actually on camera right now.
I'm
So-
thinking that says a no.
Yeah, so it's a little late. It's a little late. They would know that with TV.
I tried.
Here we go. That's all good?
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rosita Charm, and I do photo art. I'm giving you an envelope, but please do not open it until the end of the presentation. One of the things that I do is photo art. I have a tremendous passion for photos. I'm retired Air Force, and I retired back in 2006. And then, unfortunately, in 2012, I got laid off from my job as an executive assistant. And I decided what I wanted to do was find a job that I was actually passionate about. I'm kind of getting up there in age, so I wanted to find something that I was interested in. And it happens to be computer programs. So I went to school for 3D animation and interactive media with the Center for Digital Art out at Boston University. And one of the things that I learned was a variety of computer programs to help me with my photo art. I was actually going for 3D animation, but animators get laid off about every 2 years or so. So not a career that I was willing to jump into. So I took my programs and I decided I wanted to do something different. And my father, who is one of 12, he loves his family, but he sees them very rarely. So I went down to Georgia with him one time and I scanned all the photos from my aunts down there, and I made my father my very first photo collage, which was the letter A, and I made sure all 12 of his brothers and sisters were in there. He absolutely loved it so much, he hung it in the living room. Then my mother took it down from the living room, and then my father put it back up. And by the way, it's still there. Not that it wasn't lovely, but my mother has her own form of art. My concept is photos and photo art. Today, with the way we are in society, we absolutely love our photos. Most everybody has a camera. If you have a cell phone, you probably take several photos. But what do we do with the photos once we take them? We leave them on the computers, we leave them on our thumb drives. Sometimes we post them on Facebook and other locations. But sometimes, after we pass through several hundred, we don't do anything with them. They just kind of still sit there. So what we'd like to do at Your Visual Alternatives is actually change that around a little bit. And we take your photos and mine and create photo art. I can do collages, mosaics, family trees, my favorite. That's my family tree. That is my grandson right there. Okay. And being military, I spent my entire life away from my family. My father was retired Air Force, so we traveled a lot. I'm retired Air Force, we traveled a lot. And my son is in Indiana. And so I don't get to see my grandson that much. So I took his photos and made photo art so that instead of just hanging up 1 or 2 pictures of him in the house, I can actually have hundreds. And I can continually change that over. So I've been working on my art and my abilities with my items over the past year. And then also friends and family. 3 things that I want you to remember, because photos are worth 1,000 words. So what happens when you have thousands of photos? They always are going to make us happy, or sometimes they're going to make us laugh or cry. I'm extremely passionate about photos. So the 3 things that I want you to take away is how passionate I am about photos, regardless of how nervous I am. That photo art is, anybody can do it, but I can do it just with a little bit more technology. And then I'm proficient. Not only do I have the training, but I practice on my photo art every single day. Photos are unique to each of us. That is a photo that I took when I was working out at Cooley Dickinson Hospital, and it's an aerial photo. I'm the only person who has that photo. Now, if I wanted to make photo art out of it, then I could absolutely use all the aerial photos I took, and I could create a piece of art, and actually people at Cooley Dickinson would love that. But if I do what everybody else does and just left it on the drive because I took the one photo I needed, then
nobody gets to see that beautiful piece of work. Photo art, because I'm so passionate about photos and I really think that everybody loves the photos that they take, we just don't know what to do with them sometimes, that we can actually create photo art. We can create mosaics, we can create collages, we can make them seasonal. I absolutely love seasonal. This is autumn, there's over 800 pictures of trees here. You have trees, you've got leaves, you've got branches, you've got stems, and you've got roots in this picture. But every single photo on here is a picture of some form of tree, leaf, branch, or stem. And we can do that with any photos. Earlier I said I was proficient. Not only did I go to the 3D animation for the Center for Digital Arts for 3D Animation and Interactive Media, where I learned all the Adobe programs, but I'm constantly looking for the newest and the greatest software program. There's always software programs that will help you get started with photo collages, photo mosaics. There's a variety of different programs. I just take it to the next level because I use a variety of different programs. And every week I'm going out and looking for something new. And if it's there, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to try it. If it works, that's great. And if it doesn't, that's not a problem. And then we make it as easy as we can for the customer. How do you get 1,000 photos to someone like me? Easy. You can put it in Dropbox. And you can send me the link to Dropbox. We can do it via the CDs. We can do it via the thumb drives. And that's kind of how simple it is for people to get it to me. My competition was really hard for me to find. I started looking for who my competition was because I focus on family trees, mosaics, photo collages. One of the biggest challenges that I had was, where's my competitor? Who does what I do? Well, there are some companies out there that do photo collages, but my biggest competitor is the software programs. Because an individual can go out and they can buy software programs to create their own mosaics and create their own collages. However, those all generally are cookie cutter type of programs. And even though they do very good quality, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic programs out there, we can actually take it to the next level because we bring it into different programs like Photoshop and do a little bit of editing on it to put it where we want it. You have companies online that you can go in and you can order your own photo art, but those also are kind of cookie cutter collages. I haven't found anybody I can send to do my mosaics, but I'm sure they're out there. I just haven't found them yet. And ultimately, we create art, and that's what your visual alternative is about. It's the art that we create using my photos or using yours. You know how they say if you can think it, we can create it? It's actually very true in my world. I had a friend, she's 92 years old. She had her third great grandchild, but her son's first grandchild. And she wanted something special for him, but she only had like 4 or 5 photos. I'm like, okay, Bonnie, I love you to death, but I don't know how I'm going to actually come up with this for you. So we were talking, and her son loves cars. Okay, I can actually handle that. What I did is I went and I took a car, and then I took a picture of him, and then with Photoshop, I went and I cut him out of that photo, made it look like he was in the car, and for the border, I used Hot Wheel cars. So that way, she had something special to give him. Her son loves cars, so he absolutely loved the concept. And he actually hung it in his office, which I was very impressed by. I was like, yay, with one photo, I was able to make a collage. We can go up to 1,000 or up to 5,000 photos in a mosaic. And I can do a collage with as little as literally 1 photo. I like at least 30 photos, but we can do it with as little as 1 and just do different types of borders. And we can provide the product that's not only printed out, and when I create the photo art, I can print it out in any size. We can do poster size or larger, and I can also do smaller. It all depends on what the customer is looking for. I can either give it to them on a CD or we can send it to them in a Dropbox account. Marketing. This is my big challenge. So recently, actually Wednesday night, I actually changed my entire concept for what we were doing for photo art with a little bit of help over here. Originally, I was only doing photo art for people who provided me the photos, But we changed that because I have my own photos and I have my own artwork. I actually changed it now to where will sell my artwork as well as the customers. That way I can have a little bit of revenue while I'm waiting for the customers. But we're going to market it on e-commerce, the Facebook, the websites, the Googles. I'm signed up for some craft fairs and some art shows. The small gift shops are a great place for unique items, and you can sell them in small 8x10. And if you have a photo or a piece of art, you can actually make anything that you want with it. You can put it on a coffee cup. You know how during the, when people have family reunions, they have photos on their t-shirts? They can take a mosaic or a collage and they can put it on a t-shirt. I'm also going to target some small businesses. Now, because I have such a variety of photo art, my target market is really going to change depending on which item I'm pushing. If I really want to focus on the family tree, then I'm going to focus that on individuals who are in their mid-40s because they're going to maybe get it for their parents or pass it down to their kids. When I started my business, I started back in September of 2013, and I started my business name as LLR 2000, which stands for Life, Lineage, Reality 2000 for the new millennium. And I did that because my sole focus was family trees, because the first piece of digital family tree I did was my military family tree. And I thought, oh, I love family trees. But since then, I've actually created 4 family trees. None of them took less than 4.5 months. And it's not because it takes Lisa 4.5 months to do a family tree. It's because it takes people 4.5 months to get me photos. So there were a lot of lessons learned in that process. Not only wait till everybody has all the photos to bring them to me, but also I realized that family trees are not the easiest thing to do. They're easy for me, but they're not easy for my customers. So I changed my name in December of 2013 for a couple of reasons. One, everybody kept saying LLR 2000 makes no sense. And then, so we came up with your visual alternatives because that's exactly what I am. I'm giving you a visual alternative to actual photos. And in February 2014, I adjusted my transaction to photo art. And I plan on throughout the year attending craft fairs and art shows to try to get my photo art out. And also, because my photo art is designed so that I'll be selling my photo art, there'll also be a separate area if they want it customized. I also do the digital motion graphics and the e-invites, as well as virtual tours. The difference is I'm going to push those off for a little while. If somebody wants the edition, I can absolutely offer the edition, but it's not going to be my main focus. And I'm hoping by 2017 to be able to bring on another graphic artist in my business. So when you start getting into your photo art, you have to look at your pricing. Now, because one of the challenges that I have is time and the items that you have to, the cost for the frames as well as for the printing, you start getting up in price. And the price, when we get down to the next page, you'll see, is not based on how much I'm saying that my work is worth. I'm basing my price because the items for the frames and the photos printing are relatively expensive. But if they customize it, it's unique to them. They can tell me which design they want. This is one of those big photo cards. That's my grandson, although this is a really bad picture. And there's a bunch of pictures on there, and I had everybody sign it to wish him his happy first birthday. And then I've got the 3D collages, the simple collage, the spiral. And there's a variety of different things. And your visual alternatives for an 8.5 by 11 frame piece is $20. And it's because of the cost of the frame as well as the cost of the printing. And the 16 by 20 frames get even more expensive, which you see here. The cost of the frames are the light green. And the nice big red is the actual sale prices. There's generally not much difference when you add in the cost of the frame and the cost of the printing. And this is just a rough estimate because I just changed this process around a little bit. I have not had a chance to really dig in and locate better pricing. I have researched pricing over the last 48 hours, but haven't gotten down to the real nitty gritty of it.
So what are my next steps? This is important because this is where I'm actually looking for guidance. I am looking to find the better resources for the pricing on the printing as well as the frames. I will still continue to look myself to find better pricing for pictures and frames, but if anybody knows of any better pricing, that would be terrific. Also, assistance in getting into gift shops. If you know any small gift shops who just want to put a couple of pieces somewhere, that would be completely fantastic. And then last but not least, the most important piece of my pitch is if you would please check me out on Facebook. But wait until the end of October because I just changed and revamped everything. I'd like my Facebook to look really nice by the time anybody actually goes out to look at it. It doesn't look that bad, but it's not as good as it could be. And if you like it, and only if you like it, please click like and share it with others. If you don't like it, I will not be offended. In fact, chances are I won't even know you were out there because you didn't like my page. So I handed everybody an envelope earlier to say thank you very much. And if you open it, you will see it's actually a photo collage with all of our classes. Thank you very much for taking your time and coming here to see us and help us. So did anybody have any questions for me?
You were interested in figuring out pricing and also looking at potential sales at.
Yes.
So, University of Connecticut Document Production Center that also does. They do everything from brochures to architectural design,
Oh,
printed publications, and everything. So I could connect you to Lori Nye, and she might be able to help you cost out different things. They do jobs involved. So.
thank you very much. I would greatly appreciate that.
And I'm a director at the UConn Co-op on the board of directors.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, if you had a portfolio, I could get from your site and go our merchandise.
Absolutely. In fact, this is not the best portfolio, but I will show you that this is similar to what that I will be providing. I'm actually, I have not put pictures of picture frames in there. Oh, thank you very much. The ones in frames, but if you look at my 3D art, it's absolutely phenomenal inside a shadow box frame because it actually looks like it's 3D. And I've created them, and people can use them also if they're collectors. Like one of the pictures I had up there was the Skylanders. I'm a big Skylanders fanatic, and so is my nephew. And so I took a ton of photos of my Skylanders, which are little game pieces, and I created him a poster for his bedroom because he doesn't have the 200 and something pieces his aunt has. So he absolutely fell in love with it. And every time his friends go over, they all get excited and want one, but they're too expensive to print for friends. Not too expensive to print for your little nephew, but too expensive for friends.
Would you think of trying to maybe partner with a Vistaprint or somebody else that does kind of the printing and shipping services for some of that stuff that, you know, they might get better pricing overall. I don't know if they do frame stuff or not, but you know, I don't know if Amazon does any of that type of work as well. It might be something to consider.
Absolutely. I have looked at Amazon. And one of the things with Amazon is you can put your merchandise out there for sale as a business, but they won't group with you until you've sold X amount, which will probably take me about a year or two to get to that X amount, but I'll get there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So going back to, you know, anything up, I was looking at the cost and the price numbers that you have.
Yes, sir.
Do you have like a very specific plan of how much revenue you want to generate over, you know, what period of time, or do you think you're going to wait until later in the fall to kind of decide on that?
Actually, what my goal is I would actually like to start generating revenue. If I can get, and I'm hoping with the Christmas time frame, if I can sell about 600 units in a 6-month window, depending on the size, based on my projections. Then what I'll be able to do is make enough where I can actually go to the next level, which will give me approximately, give or take, about $25,000. And then I will be able to go and purchase more actual frames and things, which also during the holidays, I'll be able to purchase some frames and items on sale because they're usually on sale. And also when they go on sale before the holidays, then I can start stocking up for next year. And then hopefully next year, I'm not pushing too far, but hopefully next year I'll actually be able to increase my sales and get the business out there. And then hopefully by the end of next year, about $40,000 worth of profit. And that would be about 900 pieces.
Okay.
Give or take. The margin is not very high on my personal pieces. They're a little bit higher on the custom because an average piece of photo art will take between 2 and 5 hours. If I just use the software program and not the additional work that I do on it, I could knock one out in less than 30 minutes. But because of all the additional work I need to do to it to get it where I want it so that you can print it any size you want, it takes a little bit more doing. So it generally can take 2 to 5 hours. I had one piece that took me 6.5 hours, but that was because it was just, I made so many mistakes along the way. You know, once you make one mistake, you might as well kiss the rest goodbye. Just restart all over instead of keep trying to fix it.
You said for marketing, you're thinking about basically gift shops and then Facebook and you said e-commerce too, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So are you planning on setting up a website where you can take orders?
Yes, ma'am. I have a website already,
Okay.
and I am working on, I've already purchased the piece to be able to go online and put it out and sell it and all the security that goes along with that.
Right.
I've actually already purchased that. I was waiting until after this class before I went and put stuff online, which was a good thing because I'd have to revamp the whole thing anyway. But that is that I'll be able to sell it on my website as well. Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions?
Well, thank you so very, very much for your time. I do greatly appreciate it, and I will make sure that I get you one of my books when I get back. Get some more. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Alright guys, I'm going to have the restroom break, so I'm sending over to all of you as well. If you want, to use the restroom or have a coffee break, this would be a good time, while I do that and bring in the next person.
Great.
We just do awards that we do. Just strictly off the score sheets that we vote on.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, that's it's just tough to know anything. Usually you would have picked 2, but I think we're only to pick 1.
Well, I think we were to pick one for innovation and then one for overall.
Yeah, you're supposed to pick 2, 1 for overall, 1 for innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So we have to find the next person.
Oh, okay.
Because we're a little ahead of schedule, just
Oh,
to let you know, so I mean, if you catch up on notes or anything. Okay.
What was that?
For lunch, see a couple of the
Oh, that's good.
folks, and then I spoke to the whole group.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I did last year, too. Last couple of years. Are you going to dinner? Or she will send you this?
I'm fine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Would you say 2? Yeah, that's what I told her. Yeah, I don't know what else. We'll do a couple of small things.
yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I assume it's gonna happen more than half the people on the list.
Robert, yeah, Robert. That's my understanding. In the second.
No, I thought the notes were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were one, like 1 year.
Oh,
That's what I understood.
I didn't really remember, but I thought it was,
2 years.
well, I kind of figured it was. And then so, then we have a month. I guess it's what I thought.
Well, right, and I guess but I thought
I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, no, I think they are.
All right.
Yeah.
And then start legal proceedings and then, who has, legal proceedings for the farmer's dinner? Who?
But I, you know, I don't, out of the thing, I don't care. I mean, that, altogether, whenever it's 225 or something like that, total amount, or something like that.
Yeah, it's number.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, how you doing?
I just got word, I'm up. You are? I'm not quite, I just walked in.
No, we got,
So,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
tell
I-
people not here yet, so you get time.
Okay, probably need about 10 minutes, a couple things to take care of. Thanks very much.
Sure. Right. I know.
Let's try to be clear about that.
But
It's very close to.
well, so you'll have the chance to, I assume, but I will, and you will, to say, you tax 40%. So, but we should have, that's 5% of whatever he wants to,
Right.
you know, like really wants to, and that's on the side.
Right.
I want to lever hold those notes to sell property or do whatever they have to do to get cash.
We don't know.
So,
The reality is, I mean, who done them with legally that, the second actual being, how much money do you want?
I don't think any number of them that they're getting out.
Second, see, that was my thought was that
I don't know.
notes were covered by, and I haven't given it, frankly, enough thought. I think I'm almost ready to call it fiber. Because you asked me one more time if I reconcile those facts. If they're all their accounts. Which I did. And then told them I did. And told them that I was getting, the other outstanding, that anybody should pay. Right here, right? The other $3.32 chapter. Already, and every time I would respond to that and say, it's reconciled to the dime, then he would come back and reconcile it again for me, and we'll see that the board is from the dime. And that's what every time I respond to him, and how about that's what we're supposed to do. The positive into that, and that was what I thought it was. I was successful. I thought that was the first installment of the so I'm like, and I kept, so every time I just play down there, so we had the text letter, and because I don't have access to the account, that's what the thing is. So, I had everybody access to that deposit, because I had a little trouble with my for deposit, so they didn't even check to see that you want that into it. Oh, no, I think so. But it does, before, have you seen the $1.32 from Bill Scott?
Yeah, that's what I know.
I thought I could see that. Really stop it.
It's total.
Well, you got
Right, that's what this.
That's the deal, or we're gonna say, no, this guy's not. No, you don't know the rest. Like I said, I wouldn't care. Dave's gonna say.
Oh, they already.
That's, to him, that's what, you know, $3,400 or something. They want like $3,000. Right? He's already said to you,
I already said to you, you see on an island about this note. And I didn't, I don't know if it was hundreds of you, I think they said, yeah, but when I started, I had notes. And it was definitely the focus of my attention. Yeah, you're supposed to get into that. Nobody seems to be fast.
so is that,
It is, I don't find it.
well, what is it? So that's the escrow payment portion against the notes.
Yeah, so this is how I got it. It's the first, if you look at the first spreadsheet that I put out. Those do is one line item. No, okay. No, 66. Something.
I remember it too. I remember having the discussion with Jeff.
Why are we doing it? What? So why do we do it?
I don't know. I don't, but it makes sense to me that, like you're saying, we should, whatever's left.
Yeah.
Should come out of the next escrow.
This is what I thought this is that we were talking. So I'm saying I was thinking of it. That's what, that's it, so what is it?
So,
Yeah, yeah. So we think that's what we decide, so we only
right.
think that. Probably, that's what I thought he wanted.
Oh, yeah, well, he wants that, and then when he realizes that
There's more beyond that.
it's sitting out there, you open another, that, which, because I think the balance would be the other is six.
It's portion of. It's only 5% of. That's right now in the account, but that's where you get.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're in the account. I don't understand that. It's like, why did you just figure it out?
Right.
Why did you get out of it? Why did you get that question come up to you? I don't understand.
I don't want to go back to the
But I was holding my breath on the airport screen, so I wasn't there. So I wasn't there. Cover out. It was just, right hour, 12 to 66. How about you just throw it in and do that? Because if I was so comfortable, it would clean it up. And it's the brakes are going out. And so it said, really yeah, so they have their thing. And then
all kind of good jobs. Awareness before. I said,
right, I don't care. Other people didn't do it.
yeah,
But you weren't getting me that money.
Yeah.
How can we do that?
well, what I say, we should do together. But probably, I think, you know, the answer was that it was already so bad, all of those guys, further into that, that they really wouldn't stop with it.
I got it. Maybe there was some time in between the deal happening and the year where they all brought it off somewhere else. Because we somehow figured out a way to get them. At least send that to money they got from the newspaper. When the $8.250 can get ready. I don't know. I don't know what the number is, but something like that.
Yeah, like a lot of them. No, I think you're probably right.
How long?
It's it'll be a long time. Now that I even thought about it, that might be very good.
We found him. He was on a bus trying to get away.
Don't blame him.
Grabbed him.
Drag them back.
Yeah, we got him just in time.
His total was that, so how did what did we went to now? It's like a third, in the first,
Right. Yeah. To your point, he's never gonna.
you got another 20 something coming to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why did you? How much did you
That's what you're at, 67.
Because they were the percentage everybody hours were backward. So we
Yeah, I don't want to.
we all had.
No, no. What's that that's not going?
Well, the number doesn't make sense. I don't know. 67. It seems like there should be more.
Yeah. Well, because some of the open when it went back in,
Yes.
66.
So that's why it's
Right, so
it's down.
it was,
And you know, for whatever reason, it didn't abandon the.
was off,
Right.
so could it? So it's a pretty good step.
Which is what that's what I kept saying. I kept saying.
Right. And now,
What was the low?
right,
Makes sense. Yeah, what I told you, you told me that. I was already so angry that I was
Yes, so I'm just
right.
gonna set it up so that your presentation
so what,
is shared.
it looks like,
So when you have this,
When the movement starts.
you wanna do like an hour position myself over there like that?
It's gonna go to full screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do right now. Yeah, this is everything.
We're gonna kick it off in a minute when you're all ready. And if you can't, I don't know if you'll be able to see the screen or not. Oh, perfect. Thanks. I'm gonna hit the lights. Start this song.
Yeah, 86. And then at the end, 46.
You guys ready? No. I wanted you to be able to find a good stopping point.
The Veterans Healthcare System is a promise that we made to America's veterans that we will take care of them.
Whether it's allegations of VA staff covering up long wait times or cooking the books, I will not stand for it.
These recent allegations are not new issues. They are deep, system-wide problems.
Our veterans deserve the best. They've earned it. before we start spending more money, our first job is let's take care of some basic management issues that I think can be fixed.
It's extremely disappointing that the department has repeatedly failed to address wait times for healthcare.
They recalled countless unanswered phone calls, ignored messages, endless wait times, mountains of bureaucratic red tape.
Any adverse incident like this makes me mad as hell.
I want somebody spending every minute of every day figuring out, have we called every single veteran that's waiting? Have they gotten a schedule?
It seems to be an issue that is occurring in other VA clinics.
A few minutes ago, Secretary Shinseki offered me his own resignation.
I extend an apology to the people whom I care most deeply about, veterans. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Dennis. And I am an executive recruiter. The name of my search firm is VETS, Veterans and Executive Talent Search. VETS. VETS specializes in recruiting for doctors, nurses, and clinicians. Excuse me.
Spacebar.
Thank you. We've all, the New York Times produced that clip of all the issues the VA has gone through this summer. And shortly after that, Robert A. McDonald was appointed the new Secretary of the Veterans Affairs. The first thing he did was he took a month and he went out to as many VA hospitals, clinics, spoke with as many doctors, patients, administrators, to get a feel for what was going on. And in his first press brief after that, New York Times headline was, new VA Secretary says hiring freeze needed to meet patient demands. Tens of thousands of new doctors, new nurses, and new clinicians need to be hired to meet the needs of our veterans. Now, I'd like to discuss that in greater detail today by covering three things as far as why that's such a critical factor. And those three things will be regarding recruiting doctors, nurses, and clinicians. It's a process, it's personal, and we have made a promise. I retired from the Marine Corps, and 20 years, most of that time was spent in the infantry. And my twilight tour was on recruiting duty up in Boston. Very intense training, 2 months of learning the process of being a Marine Corps recruiter. Spent the majority of the time recruiting at Harvard, Brown, Wellesley, Tufts, MIT, Boston College, Boston University, for future Marine Corps officers. Great experience, very rewarding. Retired from the Marine Corps and went out back into the civilian world. My first job was hired by Management Search here in East Hartford, Providence, and Springfield. Management Search is New England's largest privately held search practice. And by answering that in the paper, president of the firm hired me, Marine Corps via Campbell. Thank goodness, because he may not hire me if I wasn't a Marine. And I really appreciated that. For 2 years, I learned the executive search business and a 15-point strategic search process to do recruitment at an executive level. And now I carried that on with me for the last 14 years or so. After Management Search, went on my own briefly, and then went to work and helped an architectural firm in Boston go from 60 people to 300 people in less than 5 years. One thing that really strikes me there is that we went to a company picnic on Cape Cod, and almost 1,000 people there with a 300-person company. And it really impacted on me, in effect, as a recruiter, to work with more than just a job. You're having an effect on people's lives, families, and that stuck with me throughout. After working as a corporate recruiter there, the Connecticut Department of Labor hired me as a veterans representative, and that's where I've been the last 6.5 years. Assisting veterans and disabled veterans in securing employment here in Connecticut throughout the country, especially in this economy, a very challenging, rewarding job, but full of challenges. And because of this process of so many people don't understand how hard it is to get people jobs. Because of this process, it's going to enable me and my organization of vets to be able to recruit for doctors, nurses, and clinicians for the VA. On a personal level, I am a service-connected disabled vet. I use the VA healthcare system as my primary care provider, and I am also a disabled veteran small loan business operator, which really is probably a huge competitive advantage, and we'll get into that in a minute. I've applied for and received my employee identification number, my DUNS number, my SAM certification, and I'm authorized to do business with the federal government as a disabled veteran small business owner. And I'm excited about that because I'm going to take these last 20, 30 years of experience in the recruiting industry and contacts throughout the Department of Labor, the corporate world, my Marine Corps experience in the armed forces and the recruiting industry, and recruit doctors, nurses, and clinicians for the VA. I'm really looking forward to that. A promise is like in the beginning of the clip, the country has made a promise for our veterans. And by working closely with the VA, I'm going to be able to restore the trust and confidence of its veterans and the American people back in the VA by recruiting doctors, nurses, and clinicians. It's going to make a difference in these veterans' lives and the way they're treated and cared for and the quality of care that they receive. Now, let's have some fun. We're going to blessed with a beautiful industry in that there is no funding required. There are no real big startup costs. A cell phone, a laptop, a room closet. I'm ready to go to work. Pencil and paper, and start recruiting. Thanks.
Of course.
Process the personnel.
Oh,
Okay, thank you. So the market is the VA and the hospitals, and I apologize, you're probably not going to be able to see this map clearly. What this is, the United States Military Medical Facilities map. Every VA hospital, clinic, plus all the military installations, hospitals and clinics are on this as well. Again, so that I'm looking forward to working with the VA and assisting them. That being said, if for some reason in recruiting for a position, there's a hospital in the area where the VA is, and that doctor, nurse, or clinician doesn't go to work there, that person may go to work for another hospital, therefore being able to collect a fee there. And ideally, you want to present free qualified candidates for each position. So, the first year, initially, next slide.
okay.
I need to focus on locally and build a business here and then grow it out from there. But the intent will be if just this week, October 6th, in Marine Corps Times, there was an article on VA to boost doctors' pay, $20,000 to $35,000 each. The average pay is anywhere from $250,000 to $350,000, and it varies. But for instance, if just as an example, an annual salary of $200,000 and a 25% placement fee, one placement every 2 months would be $300,000 in annual billings. And I think that's very conservative. And the opportunity to serve as a disabled-owned business, veteran-owned business with the VA, it just takes, it's a huge, and I guess that's the intent, competitive advantage. going against the larger firms, to put my executive recruiting training into place, and I'm looking forward to that. I believe that's a conservative, very conservative, numbers right there. No, if you could go back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, thanks. And, but the intent will be, so after growing from here, identifying these other locations, reaching out to other retired veterans who have served as professional recruiters, and building, hiring a key person, and then having them bring on 2 or 3, Boston, New Hampshire, New York, Ohio, down the East Coast, into Florida, start to move west, and by again chasing the government contracts and building it from there. I hate to say it, but I believe that this could be within 3 to 5 years a $100 million business, and I am, and then from there, whether the key founding people of the firm would want to keep the firm and continue to grow it, possibly not really franchise, or at some point, maybe 5 to 7 years, think about selling it to a competitor like Orion or Lucas or Bradley Morris on the military side, because this whole operation primarily started with I'm a generalist, but because of the situation at the VA and the critical importance of that, target on the healthcare industry. But long term, the plan for the company would be to have that's medical, that's aviation, that's transportation, that's logistics, that's IT, that's administrative. And I'm very excited about the future. So obviously didn't dig down on the financials and the numbers and crunch a lot, but there's not really a lot there to do with the no zero overhead costs. Okay. Thank you, Ty. So, as the clip said in the beginning, with 1865, President Lincoln's second inaugural address, to care for him who shall have borne the battling, for his widow and his orphan. And that became the motto of the VA in 1959. It's on the plaque outside the door of the VA. And at this point in time, I feel blessed to have served and now to have a chance to serve again in assisting the VA by hiring doctors, nurses, and clinicians and restoring trust and faith in veterans and American people back in the VA.
I know you don't feel like there's much in terms of startup costs, but you mentioned that you're registered to be able to do work with the federal government. Do you have to go through any specific kind of paperwork or proposal process in each instance that you place someone, or is that done at the hospital level, or how does that kind of paperwork work?
Or
Just to so they have their listings out there, right? They have recs, open job recs, what they have, right? So you find a few candidates, you go right to the hospital, present those candidates, and collect the fee from the hospital.
Yes, I believe that's the way the relationship is gonna. There's not a lot of formality. I was just shocked, right, because of the disabled veteran situation, that it's gonna give me that opportunity to do that.
Sure.
Very, very exciting. And it really brings me back when you look at what an executive recruiter is and what I was trained for, and then when you look at the economy and then what you actually do, it took me away from that, but I feel very re-energized and excited about getting into that executive recruitment level. And I presently, again, with the Department of Labor still. So I'm looking at probably January of being able to start this and then pull away from that and grow it.
The whole way you quit your job and go full time.
Yeah. One placement and I'm off and running.
Yeah.
And then down the road it's just amazing. There really is. And then if I get like people, retirees with healthcare who have the experience and build that simple model and then keep the secret sauce, the strategic search and selection process, obviously who's executing it, but a government contract is just amazing. And then to take those, because of the nationwide shortage, a couple of years ago, Connecticut had a $10 million value just to attract doctors and nurses here. But to be able to take those doctors, nurses, and clinicians and then place them with civilian hospitals as well, the rate there should be 33 or 30% because it is just so critical to find these people right now.
Sorry, but there is the shortage, right? So
where do they come from?
Yeah, where do they come from?
These are active duty medical facilities with young captains, lieutenant colonels, and admirals getting out of the military to need a place to go. I got a process to get them where they want to go, and I'm excited about that. And whether it's a civilian hospital or whether it's a VA hospital, I for some reason, not now it's 1994. This time I opened it up for it last night. Why am I carrying from 1994? Why have I been collecting Connecticut, Boston, New Jersey Magazine, Top Dot since 2005? This has always been in the back of the head, and now this whole thing with the VA is giving it sense, purpose.
Is the VA used to using executive search firms?
They have. Now, obviously, just like in the private sector, they would rather not, but there is, in sitting down and going through all the certification process, there's at the federal level, executive search. The first thing I saw the next morning I woke up after applying was Richard Milhouse Nixon Library in Curator in California. And it seemed like I could have been on that right off the bat. And it's exciting. Yes.
How do you envision ramping up to a $100 million operation?
Well, that's one placement every other month is $300,000 per year with one individual. And by growing, that's one contract every other month. If I could double the production of my own, that's $600,000 in 1 year. If I get a guy in, like yesterday, Bob Rio introduced the first, he knows a veteran in Berlin who recruits for nurses, or a guy in Mike Sakaya, that's a career recruiter in Florida who he's close with. Reach out, based on contract. I plan on getting in an RV, going to Knoxville for 2 weeks and establishing relationships, interviewing people, and teaching them this process. And then I know that came out of my field. Sorry about that. But so what is that? That's $1 million a year in a blink of an eye on my own. Does it not add up that easy?
It's really expanding your operations there longer term. Do you think you're going to invest in people-based venture capital?
I would like to hope not. Such an organic way of growing it with such a huge margin, I don't know, or profit on the billings. It's just, I know it. This all exploded in my head on June 28th. It just exploded and then came all down into place. And I know there's a lot of work to do, and but really that brought me back locally, and I got to do it one at a time. And I got to prove it right from the very beginning, and then duplicate that and take it out and grow it for more of a business sense than that. That being said, once I started thinking like that, it's easy to get pulled away of what the purpose is of recruiting doctors, nurses, and clinicians, and why there's such a critical need. Opportunistically, it just lines up with the business plan that's been in the back of my head forever. But if I could do, so 50 states, 50 states, I'd like to see 5, 10, 15 in each state, at each VA center, filling contracts for the next 3 or 5 years. I have no right to say why this should be a $100 million company in 3 to 5 years, but even to this old fund, the numbers just seem to kind of fall into place like that.
So reference to some other search firms. I mean, are you worried about, I understand the cutout for the disabled vet.
Right.
But, I mean, are you concerned that there are people kind of sitting there?
Possibly, but those people, I'm building this on 30 years of experience. If it wasn't for my Department of Labor experience, my corporate recruiting experience, and especially my military experience, and being familiar with the VA healthcare system intimately, and being familiar with the military recruiting system, and knowing where the recruiters are for all the armed forces centers and the reserve centers, and being able to access, leverage and contacts based on my background and experience, and then knowing who it is, who you are, I'm being able to achieve that. I'm probably again, this has happened many times throughout my career. I just didn't know any better. I didn't know that I couldn't do that. I just got it done. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Not really. But and
I wonder for the VA and the hospitals themselves, if I have the obvious assumption that they would prefer to hire vets into those positions, clinicians, nurses,
right,
doctors. Is that true? But at the same time, I know that the VA itself, the majority of staff at the VA are not military. They're not veterans.
Right.
So, does that play into this at all, or?
I would think so. And I also think I'm going to be appealing to people's better angels at the same time too. I think there's a lot of doctors out there that have had it and they're ready to do the right thing for the country and go to work here. And I think I had a doctor mention to me, whether it's like $300,000 or $350,000, there's not a big difference. And because of the climate, I could draw that may happen as well. And I'm not sure if I'm going exactly to the question, but it's just very exciting. Any other questions? Sure.
I just flew in from DC. Yesterday I was at meetings with VA for the specific purpose of trying to understand the 28,000 jobs that they have as a deficit in that sector. I think your intuition is spot on in the sense that they want veterans for that, and it's going to take skills like you. As you mentioned, just like the private sector, no one wants to have to go out and secure executive recruitment, but in this case, there's a gross deficit. So
thank you very much. Basically, the New York Times has written my business plan over the last 3 months or so, since every article is addressing this issue. And I take it back again, all my experience and my qualifications to do it here, be the right place at the right time. But insanely, I take it all the way back to my mom and my dad, and my mother blessed with a memory of an elephant. I'm very good at love helping people, love helping veterans, and great matchmaker, and just love this job. I love to hunt. I love to chase. I love making matches. I love going to a company picnic and seeing happy faces on happy families and knowing that I have something to do with that. I love helping disabled vets and veterans. Like again, how the guy looked at me and said, "Give me hope." Being a 26-year-old kid, home, in a group home, actually give me hope. It's who I am. Love to talk to you a little more after. Can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you being here, giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. Sorry for not sticking formatted for a regular program, but thanks for letting me get this out. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Ty, thank you. It would not have been pretty if I was flying solo. Okay? Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
So they've had
I am actually gonna use the men's room real quick.
Oh, are you?
Well, I didn't take a break when I should have. What's your company name?
Is this you?
Hi, Lori.
Oh, yeah, maybe design lab.
I'm best that I can't make people up.
There are actually two military veterans on the team, myself and a man named UConn.
I'm Joyce.
Okay.
Good
stuff.
Just to advance your slides, you just can really press the space bar.
Okay.
Okay. So as you go, you can advance. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. And you can wait until the other judge comes back in to start. Oops. Oh, what do we do? Yeah. Okay.
My name's Andres. I knew Rob.
I'm
Lori, I met you. And of course, Joseph. I'm Andres also. I started a company with some friends back home called Naked Design Labs, LLC. I'm really going to speak today about my personal story and also this movement, which I believe incorporates a phenomenal opportunity for military veterans to lead in design for social good. So I'm going to speak on this. And this picture is fitting because design thinking is also referred to as human-centered design. And in this particular picture, we have a human being at the center in the sand pit. So why am I so passionate about design thinking? This really starts with my personal story and my journey, and it starts with failing. And so I originally failed out of college. I was studying engineering. I failed out of school, and I enlisted into the United States Army. It was always my dream to become an airborne ranger, and that's exactly what I did. In this picture, there's a ranger on a tightrope. I actually did that myself down in Fort Benning, Georgia. I deployed overseas to the country of Iraq, where I was injured when I was sitting behind a machine gun on a reconnaissance mission, and I was hit in the head with a bomb. It was a explosively formed projectile, and I suffered a traumatic brain injury as a result. I hit the books hard when I came back from the military. I went back to Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's well known for its bright skies and sunsets and the balloon kisses. So that's home for me. I went on to college and I finished up a bachelor's in business administration. I also made it up to Syracuse University, where I studied public administration. But I'm really passionate about design thinking because it starts with this question about how might we? And it's really solution driven. It's a process that incorporates the best of us as human beings and our creativity, our creative potential. And it starts with this question, how might we? And so if there's a complex challenge that you face, whether it's in business, nonprofit, or government, you can start with this question of how might we? And I like to summarize the process itself as learn, understand, and make. Well, first we look at problems, then we understand them, and then we make solutions to those problems. And it's a process that is human-centered, so it starts with you as a human being. You may have heard of being customer-centric, user-centered design, putting the customer first, but this really incorporates an aspect of human-centered design and design thinking. It also utilizes our creativity and our ability to create solutions for ourselves. And that's what I really appreciate about it, is because it also brings out this artistic side in each one of us. It is also a mindset. It's very much similar to the entrepreneurial mindset in that if we face challenges, we can also look at challenges as opportunities. And I often think of this yin and yang. When we face challenges, we have opportunities. So the process starts with looking. We look at challenges. We look at things from a different point of view. I like to think of it as from a child's point of view. You're open to new experiences, but you have a lot of questions. The first step also incorporates a lot of empathy. In business, you can incorporate an empathy-based interviewing technique, but we want to embrace human beings and really learn more about them. We also want to listen to people, truly, deeply listen to people, get a better sense of what their needs are, what their desires are, and what their behaviors are. Next, we want to understand other people. Maybe they're from a different culture. Maybe they're not similar to us. They grew up in a different place, but we start to understand what their aspect is and what their thinking is. We immerse ourselves in those cultures. We learn more about other people, but we learn more also about ourselves in doing so. And then we start to build upon our ideas. We can come together and actually effectively, collaboratively start to solve problems. The last step I summarize as making. We make solutions, a rapid prototype, iterative process in which you're constantly repeating and repeating and repeating. You make solutions to those challenges you face. You can incorporate a growing movement called the Makers Movement and 3D printing. A design aspect is just so important to what's going on in our country right now and the future. And it really takes a mindset where you're willing to embrace failure. I said again that I started by failing, and I really look at failing as learning. And so every time I'm failing, I'm really learning, and it's part of that greater process of me trying. I think about and imagine if you were 2 years old again, if you're just a baby taking that first step, and you want to learn how to walk. Well, no one really gets it on the first try, but we keep trying, and eventually we get there. So the big ask I'm asking of all of you today is to invest in me and invest in military veterans, because I really believe that military veterans are multipliers for good. I really believe that there's an incredible opportunity for us to incorporate design into how we learn about business and entrepreneurship, and military veterans can be those leaders in design for social good. So I'd like to tell you also a little bit about this transformative process, because for me, it's all about people, the process, and the product. And I've gone through a transformative process myself. That's why design thinking is so important to me.
Are you going to use this one? You want to use the presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why design thinking is so important to me, because I was down on my luck, and so I'm a military veteran that I was back home and I was seriously considering suicide. And instead of doing that, I started writing and I started creating things.
And I wrote a blog, I wrote letters to the editor, I wrote a lot. And it helped me deal with a lot of pain I had in my life. And it got the attention of a man named Mike Haney. And that's why I was recruited to Syracuse University to spearhead a program for military veterans in graduate school. And I was proud of that. And I had overcome so many different challenges, but it was in December of 2013 that I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So I faced a new challenge. And it was a physical challenge. And in this, I had a decision to make. How am I going to choose to go forward? Do I drop out of school? Do I stay in school? And instead of dropping out of school, I designed a morning routine. I learned about design thinking in my business school at Woodman School of Business. And I started to design a morning routine so that I could combat this physical challenge that I faced. And it was the rheumatoid arthritis itself, but I went beyond that, and I was able to, every morning, I get up, make my bed, I floss my teeth, I brush my teeth, and then I go swimming. And I went swimming 5 days in a row, 10 days in a row, 100 consecutive days in a row. At the end of that, on May 10th, I graduated from Syracuse University in the #1 rated public administration school in the entire country. And that proved to me that you could apply design, not just to simply designing a product, but you could design it to your life. You could design aspects of your life. In my case, I designed a morning routine, and I moved from getting hit in the head and a traumatic brain injury to standing in front of this wall. And every time I passed in the hallway, I touched those words etched in stone. And it said, we will transmit this city, not only not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. I didn't start it as a business idea, but I started it because my city needed help. Because we faced so many complex challenges, but I looked at design thinking as an opportunity to bring people together and start collaborating and start solving significant social problems. And that's exactly what we did. We went from one person that talked about design thinking to a group of over 50 people, followers of just one person on Twitter, to now over 502 followers on Twitter, and a growing movement in my city of Albuquerque that embraces human-centered design and design thinking. But what I am modeling here is that military veterans are multipliers for good, and that we can promote change and positive change in our community. This is us. We utilize the business model canvas to design thinking ABQ. That stands for Design Thinking Albuquerque. That's the organization that I founded. And I also founded a company, this is Design Thinking ABQ, called Naked Design Labs. And our sole purpose is to design for social good. We want to combine design thinking and business strategy, but we also believe that there are opportunities to crowdsource collaborative problem solving. And I believe that there's an incredible opportunity, again, for military veterans to play a key role in leading, designing, and making solutions in our country. So, thank you, and I'll take your questions at this time.
So what do you think the at Naked Design Labs, what so far, what are some of the challenges that, like, what have you been able to uncover through the city that you think are major social challenges that design thinking could be applied to?
There's one neighborhood in particular we want to focus on. It's called the International District. There's a great deal of poverty and homelessness. And it's not just homelessness. It's also, it affects military veterans and it affects Native Americans. So that's one problem that we have started to partner with the local university on in the city of Albuquerque. We're looking to get funding so that we can actually spearhead a project in that neighborhood and focus on that exact issue: homelessness, Native Americans, and military veterans.
Is it okay to live streaming? Okay.
And how would you go about getting funds to start addressing that problem? Like through the city, what's the process by which you request those funds?
I'm still learning about that process. I do know that there's some funding available through the Economic Development Department. There's a man, and he's a military veteran as well, who I've made a strong connection with. His name is Gary Opedal. So what I'd like to utilize is, again, bring people from different sectors together. So in this case, it would be government, the city of Albuquerque, which is a local government. They have a space that's also in partnership with the University of New Mexico. So I'm going to bring government officials to that space. It's called the City Lab. And I want to utilize the incredible minds that we have at the University of New Mexico. We have a School of Architecture and Planning. And I've already reached out to that group. And in fact, several of them have become members of my Design Thinking ABQ meetup. But we want to bring these people together as well as community members so that it's not this top-down approach. It's really a bottom-up, community-driven approach to problem solving. And the space itself with the City Lab. So I'm trying to coordinate all these different people to bring them together to do that. And the first problem I want to focus on is the international district, homelessness, military veterans, and Native Americans.
So your funding is going to come, you think, from grants and that are available for these for solutions to the problem.
Well, some of the funding could come from grants and then also from the city government itself.
Okay.
I do believe that there is a need for this kind of creative problem solving. I was approached by one woman who's a citizen, but she works for Bernalillo County, and she's focused on voter registration. So she would like us, our team, to run what's called a design sprint over 5 days to start to create solutions for getting more people involved with voter registration. So that's one of the first opportunities we've had. I did also speak with a man today talking about, well, how do we also get that information? How do we collect better information during voter registration? But that would be for the state of New York.
Have you looked to see it at the federal level whether there's funds available for that type of enterprise? If you're looking to solve a problem that exists in Albuquerque, it likely exists in many other cities too.
I'm still looking into that and learning more. What was interesting is that I was speaking on the phone about 2 weeks ago. I was interviewed for a position focused on global partnerships with the Department of State. And they have a whole part of that larger federal agency focused on innovation. They are incorporating design thinking into global development and into entrepreneurship. So when they go out to another country or they're promoting entrepreneurship, they're saying, well, you might try this process, incorporate what we also have incorporated, the lean startup method and design thinking to be more efficient and again, more iterative, to repeat a process over and over so that we're constantly creating solutions. We're not just coming up with one idea, we're coming up with 10 ideas, 12 ideas, 300 ideas. We're just constantly building ideas. And really the ask I'm asking of you is, I'm asking you to invest in me. I'm asking you to invest in military veterans. I do believe also there's a great opportunity for the Entrepreneurial Bootcamp for Veterans, this EBV program, to embrace such methods as the lean startup and design thinking, because I believe it's directly related to entrepreneurship. There's a part of the Institute for Veterans and Military Families called the Community Engagement and Innovation. And this would be a perfect opportunity to develop a curriculum for design thinking and really look to military veterans as these leaders in their community that can teach design thinking, that can actually promote workshops, that can promote design sprints. And there's a real lack, I believe, in, well, I know in my city, of leadership, but also in this design movement, along with the maker movement. They really need leaders. And military veterans, I believe, they're the best leaders.
Any other questions?
I think so.
Nice job. Thank you. I want to thank you. I know I met Rob yesterday and Lori.
Thank you.
Glad to meet you.
You?
I'll give you my information here.
Okay.
And this is an article about how the Lean Startup changes everything. I believe, again, this curriculum could be developed and incorporated into the Entrepreneurship Bootcamp for veterans with disabilities. And what I really envision, again, military veterans is multipliers for good. Imagine if we enter EBV already having a business model canvas filled out, in place, ready to iterate, ready to improve, and repeat and test rapidly throughout the 2 weeks that we're here, 11 days. And that very much could be made possible by embracing the lean startup and design thinking. It's a visual way to look at information. It's also an efficient way, I believe, to break down complex challenges. The business plan itself just seems so overwhelming, especially if you're in the startup stage. And my startup has only been around for 37 days, and we've been able to build a membership of over 50 people and look at getting hired by 2 clients. But in that stage, we've also utilized this business model canvas and lean startup methods. So I believe it's very effective. Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't mean to answer. I just didn't want to put streaming to it. I didn't want them to see all the I think that it was over. Yeah.
You can. You sure? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Very, very very well. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for being here. I know it's been a long day for all of you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Hannah.
All right, guys, that concludes our presentation. So, thank you very much.
Yes.